Hey people, Mark here at WhiskyWhistle, your wise choice in independent whiskey and spirits reviews. Today on Whiskey Review number 231, we're going to be doing a re-review of Evan Williams Kentucky Straight Bourbon. Let's get that. Whoa, it's already poured. That's right. I screwed up the last review of this review. I didn't have the camera on, so we're going to have to just go with what's in the glass already. Now, water has not been added yet. I'm going to add a little bit more. I did have a couple of sips. Anyway, we'll pour just a touch more in there. This is 40% ABV and also charcoal filtered. That's interesting. For a Kentucky whiskey, I guess that's a little bit different. Now, I'm guessing this is around about 4 years old, give or take. I think it's a little bit older than some other Kentucky straight bourbons and Tennessee whiskeys. Now, we're going to have a look at the color of the whiskey. We'll have a look at the legs. What kind of legs has it got? Then we'll check out the nose, the palate, and the finish for Evan Williams Kentucky Straight Bourbon, the black label. And today I'm also going to pour the Evan Williams aged 12 years, 101 proof Kentucky Straight Bourbon whiskey. That's going to be for the next review. In fact, let's get that poured right now, shall we? I picked this up in Japan. And what a buy it was. And look how quick I've gone through that. My goodness. Let's give that a pour. What you'll notice about this is that it has a much darker color than most bourbons I've seen before. And this one as well. The black label. So here we've got the black label on your left and the red label on my right. And what do you see there? Can you see how different that is? It is not only a shade darker, but also a shade more to the red hue. Now I'll set that back there. We'll let that do its thing, and I'll put a lid on it. There we go. Sorry about the funny lid. That's all I've got to use. Okay, let's check out the color for Evan Williams Kentucky Straight Whiskey. There we are. Now, what do you see for color? What I see when I look at that is a very dark golden hue. This looks to me like the color of pure gold, or perhaps like a lightly polished oak, like oak furniture. Very nice. Okay, and we'll check out the legs as well. Word of warning though, this is my most highly polished Glencairn glass, and it seems like whiskey doesn't really stick very well to the glass at all. So let's look there. Well, we're doing fairly well. Fairly slow legs. The first legs have already touched the whiskey down below, and the second legs are getting started there. And then as you can see, it's beginning to disappear from the glass because of that high polish on this particular Glencairn. But look at that, there's still a bit of a lip there with the whiskey at the top. So we can expect that it'll have a fairly nice mouthfeel, I hope. Okay, let's get into the nosing now. Now this is a 75% corn, 13% rye, and 12% barley, malted barley mash bill. And I can certainly smell the rye content, so that's interesting. At 75% corn, it's pretty much straight up the middle for your basic non-high rye bourbons. However, it certainly has a fair amount of spice at the front. I'm getting certainly a little bit of that minty rye, almost like parsley sort of a scent, and yet also a good amount of vanillas. Also a little bit of orange. So that's very interesting for a bourbon. Now, I'll tell you right now that after having quite a few other basic bourbons and other Tennessee whiskeys, I really like this Evan Williams. Okay, well, let's get into the palate now. Cheers, everybody. And for a basic bourbon, this really comes off as a middle shelfer. There is nothing amiss here. It's got a solid palate. Really takes over your mouth. You've got the cinnamons and vanilla. That orange that I mentioned comes through in the palate as well. And that little hint of rye is also in there. 12% malted barley now is also going to give it a nice amount of kind of a bread-like flavor. And what I do notice is either that's the yeast, there's some very familiar smells like what there's some very familiar smells like when my grandmother used to bake bread. And I would come in before she put them in the oven, that smell of rising bread after yeast has been added, when the fermentation, anyway, the rising of the bread. And also something kind of like graham cracker or arrowroot biscuit, perhaps. To me, this probably, I think it is. This is the very best basic bourbon that I've tried to date, and I really like it. The finish is long, spicy, sweet. The vanilla is still there, that hint of rye, that arrowroot biscuit or cookie, baby cookie, whatever you want to call those. Little bit of dryness in the mouth, but the sweetness really carries for quite a long time. So that's pretty impressive. Wonderful. Let's add just a hint of water, a couple drops, and we'll see if that has any influence on the whiskey. Now I get a little bit more of that kind of like cookie or arrowroot biscuit sort of scent. So a little bit sweeter. A little bit less dominated by the rye. And we've probably only taken it down a few percent. Maybe it's down to about 35 or 37. The palate now. Buttery smooth. The rye content is still playing a part, but it has taken a back, kind of like a back roll, can I say that? And the sweetness, that orange that I mentioned, the vanilla, the arrowroot cookie type of flavor has come out to the foreground somewhat. Finish a little bit drier. Still just as long. Very, very nice. Now I've got to add a little bit more in there because I want to compare it with the 12-year-old in the next review. Make sure you watch that one. And boy, if you haven't subscribed to my channel yet, do me a favor. Hit that subscription button right there and do yourself a favor too. You'll also be notified of all of the new Whiskey Whistle reviews by email. Make sure you click the bell too. What about you? What do you think of Evan Williams, the basic black label Kentucky Straight Bourbon? Do you like it? Leave me a comment. Let me know what you think of it. Now, that's all I want to do here. Oh, that smells nice. So let's get on to the Whiskey Whistle whiskey score for Evan Williams Black Label Kentucky Straight Bourbon. What is that going to be? Well, the Whiskey Whistle whiskey score for Evan Williams in 2017, just before Christmas, it's going to be 86 out of 100. That's right, 86 out of 100 is the Whiskey Whistle whiskey score for Evan Williams Black Label Kentucky Straight Bourbon. All right, well, I hope you enjoyed that. And well, I sure hope that influences your next bourbon buy. If you haven't tried that yet, I hope that you will. And if you're a die-hard malt fan, Scotch whiskey fan, Japanese whiskey fan, Canadian whiskey fan, give this a try. I'm sure that this will please your palate. It certainly pleases mine. Anyway, thank you for watching. Stay tuned for the next one. That's going to be this one, okay? and we'll see you next time. Goodbye. Thanks for watching Whiskey Whistle. Be sure to subscribe, and don't forget to give this video a like, and leave a comment down below. Be sure to stay tuned next time to join me, the host of the show, Mark, as I explore more whiskeys with you. Take care now, and we'll see you next time.